Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Weird Music, the show where we look at the weird and wonderful world of peculiar and interesting albums. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at a proper ferocious headbanger of a record that takes psych doom to this perfectly indulgent level. This is one of my favourite rock records. I love this. I'm really excited to talk about this. We're looking at the self-titled debut album, Mammatus by Mammatus. This is essentially one of my favourite rock records. It's an album I find impossible not to get lost within the grooves of every time I listen to it. It's a perfect culmination of like psych rock, doom, stoner rock, etc., all packaged together in this really perfectly cohesive album experience that just demands to be turned up louder and louder, and it's so good. You're just there just going bam, 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 bam.
When I listen to a really good song, I start nodding my head like I'm saying yes to every beat. Yes, 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 this rocks! And then sometimes I switch it up like, no, 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 don't stop a rockin'!
So, to begin with, who are Mammatus? Well, Mammatus is a psychedelic rock band formed in 2005 in Corralitos in California, comprised of brothers Nicholas Emmett and Aaron Emmett on guitar, vocals and drums respectively. They're also joined by Chris Fields on bass. And on this record it's a little unclear who exactly is performing on it, but such is life, you get that sometimes. Regardless though, Mammatus push out this incredibly loud and really heavy psych rock experience that just pulls you into this world of occult mysticism full of like wizards, dragons and stuff. It's one of those perfect albums that absorbs you and just leaves you just headbanging away as those riffs pummel you with ferocious power and precision. It's a record that just does everything perfectly. It takes precision jamming and churns out a perfectly concise album of indulgent heaviness. It goes from fuzzy rock to drone and back again. It's kind of varied, to be honest, and to be fair, that really highlights the band's talent as performers and composers. They can go from those really, really heavy riffs to those big, sprawling, droning compositions, have that all tie into their overall vision, whatever that may be, like from this one, the wizards and dragons to the sun. So, on self-titled, we're introduced to the band with just 4 tracks. All we need. You've got The Righteous Path Through the Forest of Old, The Outer Rim, and then you get Dragon of the Deep Parts 1 and 2. And on your vinyl record, you'll have the first 3 tracks on the A-side, leaving the long, sprawling composition of Dragon of the Deep Part 2 on side B. And on those first 3 tracks, you've got all those elements we talked about. Heavy riffs, pounding drums, these weird sort of reverby vocals that are kind of a bit hard to distinguish, but it adds to that sort of atmosphere, the elements and everything. And then all that culminates into side B, the 22-minute track Dragon of the Deep Part 2. And it just takes all those elements and jacks it up into this full psych rock experience that you just lose yourself within. It's so cool. It's like Mammatus take all those favourite parts of your favourite bands, like the drony aspects of Sleep, the heavy riffs of Black Sabbath, the loud noodling parts of Earthless, and it just combines it into this big mega rock extravaganza. It's so much fun, like, man, it just gets me excited every time I listen to it. And the build-up from those first 3 tracks into the closer creates this perfect album experience that epically flows from track to track. It's so cool. You've got indulgent loud riffs into cosmic drones, back again and back and forth, and it's like you've just been eaten alive by this thing. It's so cool, it's so amazing. And it's really hard not to get lost in those riffs. Like, all I want to do when I listen to this thing is just turn the thing up louder and louder and louder, make it as loud as I possibly can. Fuzzy, noisy, perfectly indulgent, expertly played. Oof. It's just so good, so good. Oh man. I do also want to talk about as well, like, I feel like it'd be remiss of me not to talk about it, but the album art of this record as well is easily one of my favourite album arts of all time, I think. Like, I've got a lot of favourites, and this is one of the favourites, and this one was designed by the wonderful Arik Roper, who, if you know of him, good on you. If you don't, well, let's get into it. Famous for designing some of the most iconic and impressive album arts. This guy designed album arts for bands like Earth, High on Fire, Weed Eater, Windhand, and of course the iconic Don't Smoke If I Sleep. On Mammatus we have this wonderful doomy cover of a wizard fighting what I assume is the Dragon of the Deep, and that, to me, perfect encapsulation of the album's themes and concepts, and you know, it's very weird, like the actual artwork itself, like it's very peculiarly drawn, but it just works so well in, you know, harmoniously going together with the music itself. Like the two just create this wonderful symbiotic relationship where they both represent the same things, the same themes, and it's just perfect. Something Arik Roper is really good at doing, though. He's really good at just listening to the music and then translating that into an image that perfectly encapsulates whatever the album's themes are and stuff. You see it a lot in his album art. It's one of the best out there. So, well done, Arik. Good job. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really fun record. There's so much to enjoy in this. It's, you know, 4 tracks, it seems like it's a bit on the short side, and with the pacing, like, you know, especially those heavy riffs that just pound away, it seems like it just goes by like that, but it's a perfect album length. It's perfect to just listen to, let those riffs just hummel away and, you know, just do their thing. It's so cool. And yeah, there's a wonderful cohesion as well, like for what Mammatus do. Like, you know, all the tracks just flow into each other, all thematically linked together. You know, you've got this sort of story of, like, you know, wizards and dragons and fighting them and occult mysticism, things like that and stuff. And it even goes into their later works as well. Like, you'll get on the next album, Dragons of the Deep Part 3, like, it just continues on into this bigger, bombastic thing that's, you know, way bigger than it should be. It's super fun. And yeah, it just man, it's just so exciting. I love this album. I absolutely love this album. Like, wonderful album art, wonderful music. Like, this is just a record that is impossible not to enjoy, like, especially for me. It just does everything I want in a record. And yeah, with that, I don't think there's much more for me to say, really. Like, I've kind of, you know, gushed about Mammatus. It's just, for me, this is just a perfect doomy psychedelic rock experience that indulges in so many aspects of rock music, and yet pushes all of that out into this perfectly cohesive vision that all comes together wonderfully, and in the end you get this brilliantly loud, noisy, fuzzy, wah-wah, drony, riffy album it's great. It's so good. Like, like, listen to this and I'm just there going, da, 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 da. I can't help it. It does it every time. And yeah, like, for me, it's essentially everything I want in a rock record. Like, I can't think of, you know, like, yeah, I love bands like Sleep and stuff like that. They do things as well, but this is like an underrated one, I think. This really just has everything you want in just psych rock and stuff. So yeah, a favourite of mine, if you can tell by now. loud, noisy, just check this one out. If you like it loud and noisy, you will not be disappointed. Like, this is a wonderful band. And with that, I think we're just going to come to the end of today's episode. I've waffled on about it long enough. Go check this one out. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you go check out Mammatus. And for now, I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.